Ready? Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Lodi Rules Management Plan webinar. This is the first webinar that either of us have ever hosted, so please be patient with us as we learn this new system. And if you have any suggestions for future webinars, or if you have any questions or comments afterwards, you are very welcome to email me, stephanie@lodiwine.com. So today we have myself and also Warren Bogle, president of Bogle Vineyards, and also a Lodi Rules grower for several years and a Lodi Rules committee member since 2011. And today we'll be covering the only 3 failed chapter management plans: the Human Resources Plan, Standard 2.1, Ecosystem Management Plan, Standard 3.3, and the Nutrient Management Plan, Standard 4.1. So just some logistics. Hopefully you can all hear us. And the only communication that we are able to do with you is if you ask a question. So what we'll do is we'll go over each plan individually, and then we'll ask questions once we get done going over that plan, and then also we'll ask for general questions at the end. And you will type your question in, and then everyone will see it once we answer it. So we'll go ahead and get started with, and if you're having technical difficulties, you can text me at 336-692-4288, but hopefully everyone is good to go on this. So we will go ahead and shut our camera off now and go to our main screen, which you should be able to see. Okay. So we're going to talk about some general tips. If this is your first year in the Lodi Rules program, we really encourage you to keep your plans simple. Don't try to make super detailed, elaborate plans. Just go off of the categories for each plan that are listed in the Lodi Rules standards, and that's the best way to do it. And then as the years progress, you can get more detailed and more adventurous with your plans. So make sure for your organization purposes that you add in the corresponding Lodi Rules standard and title at the top of each management plan. That will make it easier when it comes time for your audit. The basic plans all have a similar structure. So there's kind of a visions or a goals section. You describe the current situation in detail, and then you list your overall management strategies. Like I said, you want to use the headings in the standard and organize the plan around those. And don't worry if you haven't written anything longer than an email in several years, because I just talked to Heather Muser, the auditor, the other day, and she said at first she was hoping that everyone really wrote paragraphs and full sentences, but as she was an auditor for longer, she said, oh my gosh, bullet points are awesome. So always make sure to include a section at the end of each plan for a plan review and update with lines for dates and signatures, and we'll show you that. And then you'll want to review your management plans at your annual managers meeting, which is Lodi Rules Standard 1.3. And we really encourage you every year after your first year, focus in on one area to improve for each plan, something that you're going to focus on for that season that you can improve on and make you a better sustainable grower. Also, we really encourage you to share your plans with employees and ask them for input, because retention is extremely difficult and important these days, and you'll really be surprised at how effective creating a teamwork environment is at employee satisfaction. So Warren, I don't know if you've had experience where success stories where you shared your plan with your employees and then they felt like they were part of it, and that's just a general business strategy, right?
Yeah, especially the human resource plan, because it contains a mission and vision statement, or at least a mission statement, and your employees, it's really good for them to know your company's mission and vision.
Okay, so Human Resources Plan, Lodi Rules Standard 2.1. This is what it looks like in your standards binder or PDF file. The farming operation has a written and implemented human resources plan containing the following components: company mission, vision, and values, company strategy for human resources, staffing and recruiting procedures, training and development protocols, employee performance management and employee relations strategies, compensation and benefits, record-keeping policies, and a plan review and update schedule. So that's worth 6 points, and you have to have it, otherwise you fail the chapter. You can't have any failed chapters to pass the Lodi Rules. So this seems like a lot of information, but I'm going to show you an example of a human resources plan that took me 20 minutes to make earlier today for the Lodi Rules program as an example. And these handouts are available. You can download them through this GoToWebinar, or if you have trouble with that, you can email me to get them, so you don't have to worry about writing all of this down. So it is a good idea to have your logo in the top of your plan. It makes it look very official if you have a logo. And then here I put the title, so Lodi Rules Standard 2.1, so I can find it easily when it's time to get audited, the Human Resources Plan. Very good idea to write in when the plan was originally written and the last time it was updated. So here's an example, and this is actually our mission statement for the Lodi Rules program that was written in 2011. So to demonstrate environmental stewardship through efficient resource utilization and attentive management of agroecological processes in vineyards, to promote social equity, and to enhance long-term viability through increased crop value and reduced risk. You are more than welcome to copy that mission statement and make it your own. Vision statement: to be the preeminent sustainable wine grape certification program and to promote sustainable vineyard practices, informed consumer decision-making, and economic viability for wine grape growers. And then you want to state your values. So for us, the values were vineyard management competency, operational efficiency, sustained profitability, and environmental stewardship. So then you want to just briefly describe your human resources strategy. Ours is: we strive to foster a true teamwork effort, utilizing the Lodi Wine Grape Commission staff, the volunteer Lodi Rules Committee, and the Lodi Rules wine growing community. Staffing and recruiting. We seek to create a positive, supportive working environment for all Lodi Wine Grape Commission staff with exceptional leadership coming from the Board of Directors and from the Lodi Rules Committee. The Sustainable Wine Growing Director should possess strong leadership and communication skills, as well as general viticulture knowledge, and efforts will be made to retain the director in place long term. Lodi Rules Committee chairperson and members are chosen on the basis of dedication to sustainability, history with the program, farming intelligence, and innovative leadership. So obviously your staffing and recruiting will be a little different, but same basic ideas. What kind of work environment do you want to create? How are you going to keep your staff around, and how are you going to recruit new workers? Training and development. So in this section, you might want to talk about the training and education procedures that you have in place. This can also include your safety training and opportunities for workers to move up in the company and to move forward with their roles. Employee performance management. This one's really important too. So how are you going to evaluate the quality of your employees' performance? Is that on a certain schedule, like every 6 months, every year? And this is good for the employees to know too, because then it's not a question. They don't have to worry about, am I going to be evaluated? If you have it laid out, they can see, this is when I'm going to be evaluated, this is how I'm going to be evaluated, and then what is the company looking for? Employee relations strategies. Here you will describe kind of the work culture that you're creating and how the employees will communicate with their supervisors, etc. So for us, we wanted there to be an open, respectful line of constant communication between all the different parts of the Lodi Rules program. And then we wanted Lodi Rules growers, such as yourselves, to easily be able to get in touch with the correct contact person. So I know that can be difficult sometimes, and we're working on that.
And for you guys' forums, I mean, it can be as easy as having the foreman have meetings with the other employees, and then having then you guys, then the owners have obviously have meetings with the foreman. So it can just be as simple as that.
Exactly. And then compensation and benefits, almost everyone's going to look something like this. saying salaries are commensurate with training, education, and experience, as well as industry standards as verified through appropriate channels. The importance of employee retention to the success of the program is acknowledged, and we strive to maintain quality leadership, a healthy workplace culture, and supposed to say competitive salary and benefits program. So then record keeping. Basically, you just have to have some sort of statement on who keeps your records and how they're kept. So bookkeeper maintains organized employee records, and of course regulations change all the time, so it's important to stay current in all regulations. And then here is your plan review and update schedule. So the plan will be reviewed and updated annually. That tells how often and when/where. So at the January Lodi Rules Committee meeting before the year-end recap event. And then you'll want to have room for the review date, and then signatures and written names of all people who are present. So just like that. So now we'll go ahead and take questions on this plan, which you will just type into the system here. So let me look through your questions now. Wow. Okay. Any other questions about the first plan? Okay. We will move on to the ecosystem management plan then. Lodi Rules Standard 3.3. So this one says the farming operation has a written and implemented ecosystem management plan based on the findings of the environmental survey, which includes consideration of vegetation, wildlife, soil, surface waters, infrastructure, neighboring properties, and other environmental features. The plan is organized into ecosystem management goals, challenges, and strategies, as well as a plan review and update schedule. Then we also just showed you the environmental survey standard that goes along with it. So here is a general example of an ecosystem management plan. So again, at the top, you have what standard it goes with, the title, and then when it was written and when it was updated.
And you don't have to have a plan for each vineyard you're certifying. You have to have an overall plan for your farm or your ranch, and then each vineyard you can have a separate environmental survey, because the plan can be the same, but the surveys are going to be different. You're going to have obviously different environmental factors.
So for your environmental survey, you want to say when it was conducted or when it happened, and then here for the auditor, I noted that it was still relevant to the current farming operation. So you can just take a photo from Google Earth or an aerial image, and then you can use one of your computer tools to draw different images on there, or you can just describe where different things are. So this is an example from one of Warren's properties. This was created by Stan Grant, and again, he just started with a Google Earth image and then drew in the pertinent environmental features. So here's the basic vineyard block description. You want to describe your vegetation. So any riparian habitats or lack thereof, cover crop use, trees, woodlands, landscaping, buffers, grasses, etc. Did I miss anything?
No.
Then wildlife, you want to include any relevant birds, squirrels, moles, deer. Some people have beavers, bears, sheep, if they are used for grazing, etc. Soil, just soil types and erosion potential. Surface waters, wetlands, ditches, even groundwater recharge basins maybe on your property, rivers, streams. Adjacent infrastructure, this means, do you have sheds, houses, shops, maybe a winery, power lines, pumps, or roads? Adjacent neighboring not priorities, properties. My spell check is pretty bad. Briefly describe the number and types of neighboring properties, residences, schools, daycares, other agricultural land, etc. And then any other environmental features. So anything that might be relevant that's not described above. Weather stations, owl boxes, bird boxes, bat boxes, aquifers, etc. Okay, so I did just get a text message saying that the audio is, you can hear me, but it's going kind of softer than normal, so I'm sorry about that, and we'll try to stay very close to the microphone, and hopefully that might help a little bit. So then you'll want to list your goals. So maybe this will be to create an optimal environment for premium, sustainable viticulture while remaining profitable. Whatever your personal goals are, these are just some examples of what the goals might be for this management plan. You also, of course, want to talk about challenges. I know that every vineyard block has some sort of challenge, right, Warren? So go ahead and put what your particular challenge is.
Yeah, I mean, you have, a lot of management concerns, like, if you have riparian areas near your vineyard, so that's a management concern, because you have to, always be aware of that riparian habitat when you're spraying, dusting. Sometimes there's, the presence of other residences near parts of the vineyard, so that, that's a concern and challenge.
And then, so what are your strategies for your ecosystem management plan? Please don't just copy what's in the Lodi Rules binder, but please think of what strategies you use on your vineyard block, and then maybe there's some of these same things that are listed here. So enhancing biodiversity by maintaining healthy trees, cover crops, and riparian areas. Maybe testing your soil profile because you're concerned about active beneficial microbes. Maybe you have squirrels that are always chewing up your drip lines, so you want to get your vertebrate populations under control using your owl boxes. Hopefully everyone's attending local watershed stewardship meetings to stay informed of their local watershed issues, and then you want to educate your employees at all the levels on the reasons why ecosystem management is important to you. And again, like all the plans, we have this review and update schedule. So I hope you're seeing so far by just looking at these two plans very briefly that you're not writing a long essay. You're really thinking about things that you're already doing, and you're just listing those out in an organized manner. And that's really what you need to do to get your points for these plans. So do we have any questions about the ecosystem management plan? Maybe anything specific that you're curious about if you need to include? Maybe you can just type in your question and tell us that this is working, you're getting something out of this. It's kind of weird for us to be talking to a screen. We're good? Okay, and there will be more time for questions at the end as well. All right, so the nutrient management plan. This is Lodi Rules Standard 4.1. So the farming operation has a written and implemented comprehensive nutrient management plan containing the following components: field parameters and vineyard design specifications, vine nutrient demand considerations, mineral nutrient supply considerations, planned mineral nutrient applications, monitoring activities, and a plan review and update schedule. And again, when I read this for the first time, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so complicated, but we're going to show you that it's actually quite reasonable. So here's another general example. Title at the top, when it was written, when it was updated. You want to start by describing the situation. So field parameters and vineyard design. You just say how many acres it is. So this vineyard block is 235 acres. What kind of soil? San Joaquin loam. And what does that soil type mean? So it's a soil type with moderately well-drained soils formed in alluvium-derived granitic rock sources. So this plan came from Aaron Shin, and he wrote it as an 18-year-old just graduating high school. His is just a little bit different. I modified it, but he told me to tell you all, don't worry too much about these plans, because if he could write them as an 18-year-old, then anyone can do it. So I do believe you probably Googled San Joaquin loamy soil and came up with that. So the land is nearly flat with a 0 to 1% slope. The wind direction is generally west-northwest, and the block is on a drip irrigation system. Leaching potential is low, while runoff potential is moderate. Fertilization management is a blend of nutrient replacement and needs-based. So what are their goals? These are going to be similar, I think, for everyone: balanced vine growth and high-quality fruit production. So the nutrient stewardship model: right source, right rate, right time, and right place. Vine nutrient demand considerations. So first, talk about the growth. So nutrient needs are calculated based on the removal of 3 pounds nitrogen and 6 pounds potassium per ton of grapes harvested. Vigor is generally high for this block. It's always a good idea to describe vigor. Recent yields: 11 tons per acre in 2016, 8 tons per acre in 2015. Go back as far as you can on these figures, because I think it's really good to have all the information in one place. Target yield: 10 tons per acre. Mineral nutrient supply considerations: soil analysis. So talk about your nitrogen, your potassium, your sulfur, and your boron. Also your pH, how the range, ideally we would have had a number here. And then nitrogen is 12.4 pounds per acre foot. Base saturation is in the acceptable range. So see just all the basics that you would get from your soil analysis. And then also your water analysis. So your nitrogen contribution: do you have any toxicity issues? Maybe salinity, EC, chlorides, boron, bicarbonates, or there's a problem that will clog your emitters and your drip irrigation or not. And then talk about maybe the amount of nitrogen that's added through irrigation. Is that taken into consideration? Okay, and then your mineral nutrient applications. So you want to talk about the form. So in this case, Aaron had the nutrients applied as a blend of liquefied urea, ammonium thiosulfate, and potassium chloride. Boric acid was blended with nitrogen and potassium. The rate: this could be as simple as saying low, moderate, or high. So low rates are used pre-harvest, moderate rates are used post-harvest. Timing: this is when during the season and also for how long. So about 2/3 of the seasonal requirements are applied in 3 equal applications between May and July. Then the last third is applied post-harvest. Applications are made during a 6 to 8 hour window. And placements: so in this case, it was the nutrients were applied to the drip irrigation system with backflow prevention and check valves in place. You might also do some foliar sprays. So describe that. Monitoring activities: visual observations, of course. So canopy leaves will be monitored by trained employees for typical nutrient deficiencies. And then your tissue analysis. So do you take your petiole analysis twice per year? When do you take that? And then what is the general consensus of that? So in this case, it said that the last petiole analysis indicates that nitrogen, potassium, and sulfur levels are low. Now, you can see how you can get a lot more detailed with this, and maybe you will in future years, but this is just the basics, and this will get you through your first audit and put you in a really good position to go in further detail later. And so, again, you're going to have your plan review and update schedule at the end. Did you want to add anything more about this one?
And I think you could even get more basic than this plan. I mean, I think you need to talk about how you fertilize, whether you shank it in or you fertigate, type of fertilizer, when you do it, and your goals for your plan and your goals for your vineyard as far as why you fertilize and how much you use. And so I think it can be even simpler than this, really.
Definitely. So we just got a question that says, should you cross-reference your nitrogen management plan? Warren, what do you think? Not a bad idea.
I think that you can cross-reference it with your petioles and your soils as far as what you have in the plant and in the ground compared to what you're putting on. You can, and that can be part of your plan. I review my petioles and my soils yearly, and I come up with a rate for my nitrogen application post-harvest, taking the crop load that was just harvested into effect.
Thank you for the question. So do we have any other questions about these 3 failed chapter management plans? Hopefully you all feel comfortable writing these plans now, and hopefully we made it seem like it was doable. We'll stick around for another 10 or 15 minutes to see if there's any questions that come up. Now is the perfect time to go write these plans while they're on your mind and you just heard all this information. And again, you can access these handouts later. We do have more webinars coming up for future plans. So on this Sunday, April 9th, we're going to do the soil conservation plan and the water management plan. Friday, April 21st, we'll go over the insect and mite pest management plan and some more of the monitoring records and plans in Chapter 6. We're trying to come up, the auditor and I, with kind of a generic monitoring record form that will be available only if you attend the webinar. And then on Wednesday, April 26th, we'll go over the last few management plans for Chapter 6. And even some of the growers who are not new may have not had a spray dust drift management plan in the past if they had a custom applicator, but that is now going to be required if you want those 4 points. So you sign up for any of these sessions at the same website as you did before. And more, any closing comments?
I guess on a lot of these plans, whether it be the soil conservation plan, the water management plan, the insect, and the pest management plan, all the pest management plans. I would if you guys are working with PCAs and advisors, I'd really lean on them to help you and be a part of these plans going forward. In fact, even writing the plan with them, because they're the one that a lot of them are going to be involved in the decisions of fertigation and pest management.
Definitely. And if you're also, one more thing, if you're a new grower and you need to attend a sustainable vision workshop, that's standard 1.1, we do that with Kent Reeves. Please email me your location and maybe some general availability for that, because we're planning the next, so we already had one sustainable vision workshop in February in Lodi, but we'd like to have another one probably in the Healdsburg area. So we need to know who might like to attend that and where you're located and what day of the week would work best for you. And that can be emailed to stephanie@lodiwine.com. Okay. Well, with that, thank you all so much for coming and joining us, and we hope you got something out of it, and we'll see you at the next